Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Total Knockout Movies. I'm your host, Thomas Olson, and I'm back with my co host, Samil. And today we're going to be talking about the Academy Award nominee for Best Picture in 2010, The Social Network. Before we get started, I just want to hit that spoiler warning button. If you have not seen the movie, we end up going on some rants and some tangents and hitting some pretty major scenes in the movie. So if you have not seen it, go watch it. I believe it's on Netflix. So just head over and watch it. And once you finish, come back and join us for this conversation. We ended up running pretty long. I think it's our longest episode yet by like 20 minutes or so. We ended up being like an hour and 12 minutes or something like that. So just sit down and enjoy.
Okay. Personally, I really, really like this movie. Like, I don't know, it's like I think it's one of like my favorite movies. That's like my favorite dramas, I would say, because it's not a documentary, but it's based on a true story. And I mean,
Right.
from my knowledge, it's a pretty.
It's
it's not
very
100%
accurate.
accurate. It's not.
It's
I know
not
it's not
100%.
100% because
Yeah.
I've like
Yeah.
read some stuff where it's like not the most
No,
accurate in the
yeah, yeah.
world.
I've heard some exaggerations and stuff.
Yeah, but to the fair point, because I don't know the Mark Zuckerberg story that well, so being able to like sit down and watch a movie, because like we both love movies, to be able to just
Yeah.
like instead of like going off and like reading an article about him, I was able to sit down and
Yeah.
like enjoy like a 2 hour movie, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really really done well. I think Mark Zuckerberg was, I mean not Mark Zuckerberg,
Jesse Eisenberg
Jesse
was
Eisenberg,
great.
and Andrew Garfield were really good picks
Andrew
for
Garfield
the
is
lead
great.
actors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm right there with you. I didn't. I mean, I learned almost everything of what I know about this story about Mark Zuckerberg from this movie.
Yeah.
Um, and it made him so interesting. Because, like you said, Jesse Eisenberg did such. I think he did like an actually amazing job with this character. Um, like the way, like Mark Zuckerberg like, in real life is like super socially awkward,
Mhm.
and Jesse Eisenberg was just perfect for that. He's like fidgety, like straight to the point. Like he's like this nerdy, awkward kid, and he's just the perfect actor for that role, and that was great casting.
Well, yeah, yeah, like Mark Zuckerberg is this like really like socially awkward like kid in college, and like you can see like the whole movie. I think they did this like the I don't know who directed it, but they did like
It's
such a good him and
Fincher.
Jesse Eisenberg. Who did?
Fincher.
Who?
Fincher.
Fincher?
David Fincher, I think.
David Fincher?
Yeah,
I don't know.
David Fincher. David
Okay.
Fincher. He's a really good director.
Yeah. Well, I think him and Jesse Eisenberg did like an amazing job in portraying like who Mark Zuckerberg was as like
Mm-hmm.
a person, because like you can it's very visually like shown to you that he is not good at like handling these confrontations with people. You can see by the way he
Right.
handles the situations, the way he says things, like some of the things he says, even though like it probably isn't the best way of like going about the situation, it's just how he does it,
It's just
and
he
they
does
did
not
such a good
fit.
job with
Yeah.
that.
No, even the first scene. The first scene in the movie, he's at the bar and he meets up with his girlfriend, and he says something that makes her like basically leave him, like they break up,
Hmm.
and he doesn't like he doesn't know why what he did was wrong. Like he said something like really rude to her, and she's pissed about it, and he doesn't even understand like what he did that was wrong. Like he was literally just saying exactly what he thought, and
Yeah.
then it shows how he, you know, he doesn't understand some of these social nuances and situations.
Yeah, like I actually like, you know how I post my movie scenes like
Right,
on
right, right.
TikTok and everything. That was actually
Yeah,
one of the
you
scenes
did
I
post that
posted.
one. Yeah,
I
I
posted
remember
that scene because it's
such
like
a scene.
like you said it. He's saying exactly what he like, even though he thinks what he's saying is right. Like I remember he says like you could get into places that you normally wouldn't be able to get into. Like
Hmm.
it's what he's trying to say is it like a genuine thought. Like this girl, she goes to BU, she's probably not going to be able to go to some of these like
Right.
like Harvard parties and stuff like that, like the Phoenix Club.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so like even though it's not meant to be like he puts it in a condescending tone, even though it's not meant to be in a condescending tone.
Right.
So I thought it was just like I just love Jesse Eisenberg in this movie. This is my favorite movie he's done, like by far.
Me too. This and Now You See Me. He's great.
Yeah. Well, Now You See Me tripped me out the first time I saw that movie.
Oh, really? I love those movies.
Yeah.
Both of them are great.
Good movie. First one
Yeah,
better than the second.
I like both of them. But yeah, I also like how they showed like kind of Zuckerberg, where Zuckerberg kind of got his, not necessarily where he got it, but they really did a great job of illustrating his kind of like impulsiveness, and he's kind of like hyper and very, active. Like how quick, as soon as he gets home after he had that problem with his girlfriend, like he creates a website to like just he gets a little drunk and creates a website that literally hacks into Harvard's like servers. Like just in like a quick like 5 minutes he does that just cause he's pissed at his girlfriend. Like it's really interesting to see that. And these are all like true stories. Like this is what actually happened. How creative and like how quick he was.
Yeah, and like I have basically two things. Like obviously the story is like a really great story and everything. But there's two things. Like I'll get into my other thing later when we go like because I want to talk about that thing for a while. But my second favorite thing about this movie is the way that I don't know if it's the way the screenplay went actually, or if it was like a director's choice or something like that. But the fact that it was it it never was in one place at the same time. So it's showing like the real time of like the lawsuits happening, but then
Right.
also like showing it in the past. So it's all happening simultaneously. And even though it probably could have been choppy and not made sense, they made it in a way that like you got the whole story. I think it was the best way to go doing
Everything
both at the same time.
everything fits together. And my like most kind of important point and my most important thing about this film is kind of similar to yours. It's the fact that this movie is literally about a lawsuit, about a simple lawsuit that doesn't even like go to court or anything. Just it's like a property rights and like compensation lawsuit. And somehow they found a way to make it so interesting and so, I mean, the scenes are moving so fast. It felt like obviously it's not like an action film, but it had like that pace and that crazy like all over the place. And someone is always talking in the scene, like the scenes are very short. They cut off and it goes to something else. And like through that, they were able to take a story of a lawsuit and turn it into something so interesting and that like keeps you kind of locked in for the whole movie. Like
Yeah,
it's
and
not slow at all.
it's kind of crazy because you see it's a very nice contrast. I'm going back and forth because you can, especially between Eduardo and Mark, which
Yeah,
are Andrew Garfield and Jesse
their
Eisenberg. It's
friendship. Yeah,
there. It shows like how they felt during the moment, but then also how they feel after. So it's contrasting these two different points of view at different times. So like you see like the story building and like their friendship like growing strong, and
and
but then
then
simultaneously like
falling
you
apart.
see the end
Yeah.
point, but then you also see how they're getting
How
there. So it's like
exactly? Yeah.
like by the beginning of the movie, he's getting sued. Like within
Hmm.
15 minutes, he's getting sued. So
Right.
you know the end result, but it's also like you don't know the end result. It's like the movie really took you on a journey to get to the end point. Like that Eduardo ends up being mad and suing, but then they
But
also are able to
eventually,
show,
something happens between
yeah,
them.
they're able to like lengthen out this movie in a way that you're actually like connected to, like they really connected you to the characters because you're able to go along this journey with them, and like you actually or you're compassionate with, or like you empathize or sympathize with um both Eduardo and Jesse or not, and
Yeah.
Mark, because you see the pain that Eduardo's going through, but you also see what Mark is going through, and you can basically
That's
sympathize with both situations.
yeah. That's another thing I really like about this movie is that as it is kind of in real life, Mark Zuckerberg is not necessarily a good guy. Like he is not like he's the obviously the main character in the movie, but he is like in no way is he like a 100% like good guy that you're always rooting for, because there's a lot of situations where you're kind of not rooting for him because he does some questionable
Just some
stuff
messed up stuff, bro.
like I guess we can go into this scene now. This is like the one of the most important scenes in the movie is the spoiler alert when Eduardo finds out that Mark like basically almost cut him entirely out of the this being a stakeholder
Hmm.
in the Facebook when in the Facebook company when it's like really growing, and then Eduardo comes and like smashes his computer, and amazing acting by Andrew Garfield in that scene
Yeah.
of just him like just his pure rage and his like he's so fed up with all of the BS that Mark has been kind of throwing his way. But at the same time, like in that moment you feel bad for Eduardo, but also like you have to remember Eduardo went to New York because he got a little full of himself and didn't help Mark over that summer with Facebook. And so Mark, kind of cut him out a little bit because he didn't kind of stick through it with them. So it's like both characters, they're not neither of them actually are 100% good guys.
Yeah, no, and going back to that scene where where he freaks out in the
Mm-hmm.
Facebook headquarters,
Mm-hmm.
that even though I mean it's pretty close between that opening scene with the girlfriend and then that scene as my favorite scene
Mm-hmm.
because that scene by Andrew Garfield is like even though like other critics might not see it as that great acting, but he
That's
portrayed emotion
amazing.
so well in that like you
Yeah.
can see the anger in his eyes
Yeah.
and the way he's
How he
acting.
walks out he opens the door so quickly
Yeah,
and then walks. You can just the way he's like so hyper and so like he's just filled with rage walking over to Mark. Yeah.
yeah, it was
Um,
great.
Speaking of good acting in this movie, I love Justin Timberlake's character.
Yeah,
He's so great.
I like I don't know if that was like him coming in like maybe he was a big fan of Mark Zuckerberg so like or maybe they're friends in real life so that's why they got him in the movie but
I
I don't
don't think
know
I don't
I
think
just
that is in real life.
yeah I mean I
I
doubt it
doubt that.
I doubt it but
Yeah.
I didn't really know he was an actor or anything like that I don't know if he acts in other I know he's in what's that movie with Anna Kendrick oh Trolls that I know he's in that because he sings in that
Justin
but
Timberlake? Oh, he's a good actor. Have you seen Trouble with the Curve? It's a
no
baseball movie. It's a great movie. In Time is another movie. No, he's a good actor. He's a really good actor. I like
yeah but I
him.
didn't really know him as an actor but he did a pretty good
Uh,
job portraying Sean Parker I thought
yeah, it
still
was.
a
I
condescending
love
asshole.
that scene. My favorite of that scene, the scene. Well, just his scenes in general. One of them is the time where they go to the restaurant and he's like, you know what's better than $1 million? $1 billion. Great line. But I also like his scene in the club. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where like the music is playing really loud and then they're kind of like yelling at each other about like just to talk over the music.
Hmm.
And he tells him about like Victoria's Secret and the makings of that, which is a really interesting story too. But I don't know. I just love his scenes. How cocky he is. How like he acts. He just like the way Justin Timberlake act was the way the character was supposed to be portrayed. Is that in that like he just actually owns everything.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, now I want to talk about my favorite part of the movie. It's like maybe
Okay.
some people notice it, some people, but this movie was made in 2010, so obviously
Right.
like cinematography and everything has probably had come a long way. So the graphics were probably like could have been like amazing. But my favorite thing about this movie is the way that they made it like look like it was in olden times. Like it's a very small detail, but
Oh,
the shading on the movie is like very slight, but
it
it
is a
makes it look
little bit darker.
it's like it's not even like darker. It just
It's
looks more old. So like it
is it
looks like you're actually peering back through time
Is
like a
it
little bit.
less blue? Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, I
Well,
don't know.
I know a lot of times in movies when they have flashbacks, they change the lighting, right? So
Yeah.
you just recognize it
Hmm.
in your eye. But yeah, this movie does. I don't know exactly what it is, but it does have the lighting and the way
So
they
it's a
did
little
it. It
like
does
it's
have
like
a little
it's
bit
more
different.
so it's like a little hazy maybe
Yeah,
something
maybe
like
a little
that.
picky.
But
The camera work, the camera work is really good though.
yeah, I just that is like whenever I watch this movie, that's like the always the thing I notice about it is because
Hmm.
like I mean I'm not like a huge geek for cinematography, but that oh my
Yeah, no,
gosh, that gets me every time.
I think I see what you. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I like similarly. I just said I like the camera work, the quick, the way like the music goes with like the editing, where it's like really quick cuts and like different pans and stuff and zooms. You get a lot of close ups of characters' faces. I just it's a great overall cinematography wise. It's a great film.
Yeah, but what do you think about the as Mark calls it, the Winklevi and what was the other
The
dude's name?
Winklevoss twins.
The Winklevoss twins, and what's the other one's name? Like,
Uh, wait, the Indian guy, right?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, what's his name? Divya Narendra. Right.
yeah.
Divya, who's also a really good actor. He's in the what is he in? He's in the Internship. I love that movie.
That is my guilty pleasure movie.
Oh yeah, it's a great
That's my
movie.
guilty pleasure movie.
Great movie.
It's really not a good movie, but I love that movie
No, dude,
so
I
much.
think it is. You're
It's
so
not. It is
fat.
not a good movie.
You're
It's
so
like
fat.
Grown Ups.
That's
It's like
one.
Grown Ups. It's not a good movie, but I
No, it's
love
better than
watching
that.
it.
It's more. I think it's better than Grown Ups.
Yeah, I mean, just Owen Wilson,
It's
Vince
a
Vaughn,
great
man,
movie. Yeah, it's
it's
just
awesome.
I love
I
that
love
movie.
that movie.
But this I like this role for him because this was a guy you really didn't like in this movie.
Yeah,
That was another. That's a great. I was like so. I was so like intrigued by this and that because obviously like, I didn't know this, but that the Winklevoss twins came up with this idea with Divya for what was they were gonna the Harvard Connection, right? They were trying to make their exclusive website, and Mark basically just goes in and is like, I like that idea and does it himself and just improves it and makes it better until it's $1 billion company, which is
yeah,
obviously the main plot of the movie about how they're suing him for their idea. But I love the. Also, I don't know how they made Army Hammer into two people. Like that's great editing. I think it's
yeah,
editing because he doesn't have like a twin brother or anything. But I love that have Army Hammer playing the Winklevoss twins with their like crew and they're like all fancy and stuff. They're trying to talk
Gentlemen
to
of
the
Harvard.
dean. Yeah, they're gentlemen of Harvard, and then they're getting absolutely taken down by this like awkward nerd in a hoodie. You know, like it's great.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Mark actually says in the movie, in one of the deposition scenes, he's like, he's talking to I forget the actress's name, but the
Rashida Jones.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's also Karen, right, in The Office, right?
Karen Filippelli and
Yeah,
Ann Perkins in Parks and Rec.
and yeah, Anne
She's a good
Perkins,
actress.
right? But she's it's a scene where I don't know if she's talking to her or if it's during the deposition, but he says that the Winklevosses aren't mad because he stole their idea. He's mad because he created some, or no, he's mad that like
They're mad.
they finally didn't get to win for one time because I remember he's
Yeah,
asking.
they're mad because everything's been given to them. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
the lawyer says like, I forget what the oh man, I literally just watched this movie and I'm blanking. He says like, he says, did you or did you not know that this family comes from wealth? And he goes on this big tangent about how
right,
like
right.
yes he did, yes he didn't, and he's talking about like do you have my attention and stuff like that, and he ends up like going off
Right.
on
Do
this.
I have your attention? Oh, that's such a good scene. He goes all
He's
off.
like, you have the minimum amount of my attention.
Yeah, you don't deserve my attention right now. My attention is focused on the $1 billion company I'm running. He just yeah.
Yeah, but
And like even when he goes off like that, like even if he has like a hint of sarcasm or something, like it's just he's literally just saying exactly what's in his head, and he has no regard for it. Like when in the original, after he creates that original app that like causes a lot of problems with Harvard, like in that disciplinary meeting with like the committee, he's completely like he's like, do you have a sense of humor? He's like he doesn't care. He has like no respect for authority.
yeah, because he
Which is just
says
it's so interesting, it's so awkwardly interesting.
yeah, because he says that verse when he's talking about the to the what is it like the ad group or whatever like the I don't know like the board of like
Yeah, yeah,
security
yeah.
or whatever. He's talking about like he's able to crack their servers in like
Yeah.
4 hours, and he's like he's outlined some pretty like major security breaches, and he's like,
Right, he's helped
and
them.
he's talking. He gets up and he's like talking to them, and he's literally it's like this college kid talking down to like some major people, and like it
Yeah,
just shows that like even like
he
Mark
doesn't
is
care.
so socially awkward that like he knows he's smarter than everyone, and even though
And
he
he
might not
doesn't
try to
care.
sound condescending, he just is. He's just
Yeah,
straight
but
asshole.
he
That's
just
just what
is.
it is.
Yeah, he's just a dick.
Yeah, I think
Um,
even I forget what's the actress name again?
Rashida Jones.
Yeah, Rashida Jones. She goes the very end of the movie. She goes
Talking.
Mark, you're not an asshole. You're just trying so hard to be. And the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's never really trying to be. He just never knows how to
Well,
handle a
well,
situation. So
I think that is a part of another interesting element of his character in this film that Jesse Eisenberg once again does a really good job of is he's lonely, right? Like
yeah,
he pushes people away. It's what he did with his girlfriend. He has no regard for what people think, and I think what she's saying there, what Rashida Jones is saying to him later, is that like you could be like you could be not like this if you wanted to. But the thing is, the reason he's like that is because like look how successful he is. Like it works. That's just how he is and how it's efficient for him. But it's not exactly a way that makes him. He's still like very lonely. So I think that's why she says you're trying to be an asshole because
yeah.
he just pushes people away because that's what it's just how he is.
I remember like reading something the other day. It's like I mean, I guess it has to do with kind of Mark, but it says like no successful people were ever normal. So like anyone who's
Right.
ever
Right.
done something successful in this world has not just been some like normal person. I mean, maybe there's a few people that have just like done the normal thing and become successful people, but like a lot of like the new stuff you see, like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, all these like Steve Jobs, all these people,
Wealthy
they've all
people.
like broken barriers to get where they were. Like the Facebook
Hmm.
or the Facebook, it's the it's it was the first thing of like its kind. Obviously, you had MySpace, but like
Yeah, no,
Facebook was
it broke
different.
everything. It broke
Yeah,
everything, right? It created the social net. It started the social network platform that's so huge today.
yeah,
And
for sure.
but yeah, that's another thing. I've seen similar stuff. Like success today is you can't be this successful without having a few you know misgivings, bad manners, so to speak. I guess like you have to do certain things to become that successful that are not necessarily like great things, and that's exactly. I mean, that's Zuckerberg was willing to take those risks and willing to cut those lines just to even walk over people to get his success that he wanted so badly. Um, And it's interesting how he views himself as always right because he every decision he makes is logical and thought and at least somewhat thought out. Like when he takes the Winklevosses' idea, like he didn't really steal their idea. They said something and he created something similar and improved on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So in his eyes, like he's just doing what he needs to be successful.
yeah. Even he says it in the deposition. He's like, I didn't steal the Winklevoss's idea. I just like I'm not. I wouldn't say mirrored, but like he like you said, he heard an idea and then he took it and he took advantage of it and made it
Perfected it.
better than it could have
Right.
been. And he says he's not. They're not mad that they didn't create the Facebook. Well, he's not mad that he created Facebook. He's just mad that they couldn't. If that makes any sense.
Right. No,
Like
I
that
kind of see what
he's mad that he was smart enough to do what they couldn't do. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
right.
I don't know if that made any sense at all.
No, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. He's so prickly. He's got he's giving out thorns. He's just cutting right to it. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. But
He
it's
like
not in a way that's like he's like a cold like he's kind of cold, but he's like distant cold. He's not like hard or intimidating. Really, he's just this awkward kid that's a billionaire at like 21, however old he is in the movie. I don't even know.
think he was 20. I think he was 23 when he hit $1 billion. I think
Oh,
he was
okay.
23 when he hit $1 billion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Youngest billionaire ever.
Right.
Well, I don't know if yet, but
I
he
think.
might have been surpassed. But he at least he
Oh,
was.
yeah. This makes sense. Okay, you know who Aaron Sorkin is?
No.
He's a brilliant writer. He wrote this movie. That does not surprise me at all. Like it's very. I mean, the writing obviously is amazing. The dialogue, like I was talking about earlier, like the in terms of like the editing and how like quickly the scenes move. But it's interesting about the dialogue of the movie because one, Jesse Eisenberg is really good at talking fast. In every movie you see him, he's talking really fast and he's really good at it. And that's a huge part of this movie. Like every scene has a quick conversation of like in terms of like they're speaking like quickly. He's rapid in what he says. So and that just increases the tension. It's kind of like frantic. It's all over the place. It's like a shaky camera without a shaky camera because it's just everything is a frenzy, and that makes you and the like you said, Thomas, the timelines are switching, right? And like I was talking about, the lighting is changing, so you know what's going on, you understand what's going on, but it's going on in so many different places, and you have to pay attention.
Yeah, and like something I've read a lot about like cinematography and script writing and directing and making movies and stuff like that. And
Says he's not a cinematographer.
well, like it's what I want to do when I'm older. So
Yeah, I know.
I've been doing my research just a little bit. But they say that one of the hardest things in the movies industry is to create real dialogue. Like
Mm-hmm.
writing, it's so hard to like go on like have a blank piece of paper in front of you and be able to make
Right.
conversations real. Because when you sit down on like a piece of paper, like you might want to make these conversations like fake, like hi, hello, and like this basic format of like how a conversation go. But
Yeah, you
that's
have
not
to.
real.
It has to
Like
grab. It has to feel like what everyone is saying is true.
exactly, like
It's true. Their intentions, like the emotions they're having, are real. Like you believe them.
yeah,
Yeah, I totally. And that's part writing and that's part acting. But I definitely agree with you on that. And I'm a huge admirer of film writers because I think the writing of a film is underappreciated, and I think like some film writers, Sorkin being one of them, like should get a lot of credit for success in these movies, especially this one because the writing was amazing.
yeah, but like also one of the things I read was that no one wants to go see something that they can get in real life. So
Right.
if every conversation was like I know like obviously it's weird to say scripted out, but like if every conversation in these movies was written how you think dialogue should go, it would not be an enjoyable movie to watch because you're going to see something you could get like in your daily life. Like you just walk outside and get like a normal conversation, but like mainly it is acting, but like writing good dialogue makes a good movie because the characters obviously drive the story. So the more you are able to engage with the conversations and the situations the actors are in, it makes you just more invested in the movie. Like we said earlier, the more you the more the movie goes on, the more connected you feel to each and every character, and whether you really like them or not. Like you might not like the Winklevi. I don't know the
Winklevoss.
Winklevosses. I mean, Mark calls
Yeah,
them the Winklevi, and I like saying
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, it's like even though you might not like them, you end up connecting with them, whether that's a disdainful relationship or a liking relationship. Like some people might like the Winklevosses, but whether or not you like them or not, your connection to the character, whether because we don't know these people, so it's not like we had to have conversations with them, but being able to like be in the scene with them makes it feel like I wouldn't say we're really there, but it's like we're part of the experience that's happening. And that is like a really, really big thing with movies. Like a lot of the bad movies don't execute that very well, and you don't feel like you're actually like part of that movie and part of the experience that's going on. You're not
Mm-hmm.
part of the adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's interesting. This movie was like obviously like Mark Zuckerberg didn't like it because it doesn't paint him in a necessarily good manner. But this movie kind of caused Facebook some problems. Like they had the big PR problem with it, obviously, because
In the
they've
bad
obviously
PR
had a
or
lot
good
of
PR?
controversy in the actual company's history with like privacy and stuff. And then you see that as you see Mark Zuckerberg doing that in the very obviously beginning, like with the stealing pictures of people and posting them on that face mesh, that first website he made. That's really interesting. I think that this movie had, I mean, obviously like won 3 Oscars and was like well renowned and everything, but it actually like caused some real shit to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
It's always cool.
but like how you were saying, like I feel like we're repeating ourselves a lot, but it's important that we like hit on this. It's like um, crap, I just lost my train of thought. But oh yeah, it's like those first couple of scenes where he makes face mash and him and his girlfriend have his breakup. It really does show like how, I mean, obviously the whole movie shows how socially awkward he is and we can't handle situations, but I think that first scene is those first couple of scenes is what really like captures the whole movie because like or captures his character in essence because like I mean I even know later in the movie he goes to see what's the girlfriend's name again? I completely
I
forget it.
forget the girlfriend's name, but
Yeah, but
it's played by Mara, Rooney Mara,
yeah,
who lives around here. Interesting.
yeah, but he goes to see her again, and like obviously that conversation did not go well at all. Like in that
Right? Yeah. No,
it didn't go at all. Like she basically like flamed him in front of like all her friends and everything
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
because I mean,
But
he deserved it.
it's
He called
he
her a
won't.
bitch online.
Yeah, but like he wants to apologize because you can see in those first few scenes like yes it's what he was thinking at the time, but it's also showing his ability to not be able to like I wouldn't say comprehend, but like be able to navigate that type of situation.
Yeah, that
Like
social dramatic situation. He doesn't. Yeah, he
it's
doesn't
like
know
the
how.
normal person's not doing that. Like,
Right. He doesn't know how to handle emotions, especially of other people. He doesn't really understand. He only understands, the way he looks at things.
it's
He's
like
very.
he's like a computer. Yeah, like
Yeah,
he
he
works
is.
with
He's kind
computers.
of like a
He's like a
robot.
computer. Yeah,
Right.
just a tad.
But I think that's the appeal in the beginning. Like the Winklevosses and Divya, like they see this kid that was able to hack into like Harvard's actual, like they actually did some he actually did some damage, like so easily, and these kids were so impressed by that, just his sheer skills that they try and recruit him, and obviously ends up kind of screwing him over, but that's just business. It's good business.
Okay, but like I want to talk about like what do you think about I mean obviously like Justin Timberlake did a great job portraying Sean Parker, but do you actually like Sean Parker as like I mean as
Um,
like first as like a character in the movie and then like first as a character I mean I guess just do you
I
like
don't
him in
know.
general?
I don't know how well, or how I should say how accurately his character is portrayed as compared to real life. Because I don't know that much about him, but Justin Timberlake's acting, I thought was great. Like I said, and I thought that character was. I mean, obviously, like he kind of. It's interesting because obviously he clearly gets in Mark's head. Mark is very admiring of this guy because this guy has been very successful with what's his thing, Napster.
Yeah.
Um, and so he's Zuckerberg is like intrigued by him and looks up to him, and he kind of gets in his head. And I originally when I watched it, I thought like, wait, this might end badly, right? Like Zuckerberg's getting kind of sucked into this guy, and what if this guy screws him over? But it's actually that guy kind of convinces him. You can argue whether this is good or bad, like of the kind of like do whatever it takes to win this goal, and he is part of the reason that Eduardo gets pushed out. I think he's a big part of it. You kind of see him nudging Zuckerberg away from Eduardo because he kind of makes Zuckerberg think that Eduardo's holding him back, which he kind of is in some scenes, but it's interesting. Um, and then obviously in that scene where Eduardo gets super mad, like there's a little exchange between him and Justin Timberlake's character. You kind of see him like I don't know how to explain it. I just feel that I like that conflict and that tension between those two characters, kind of for fighting for being like Mark's next man.
I will agree that I like the tension between Eduardo and Sean because
Yeah,
I mean it was a huge driving point in the movie. It happened in real life, so it's a huge driving
yeah,
point of the entire
the
Facebook story.
story. Yeah.
But personally, I mean, I didn't like Sean at all. I sympathized way more with
Really?
Eduardo because I
Oh,
mean,
you
like,
didn't like okay.
because
I mean, I like Eduardo too. I felt
I
bad
mean,
for
like,
him.
I just obviously like a little like girl. I mean, I should not say that, but like the I would say softer side of me just didn't want like that. I just didn't want that to happen to Eduardo. Like, I really
Oh no, yeah, he's a very no, he's an empathetic character or
yeah, like
sympathetic.
you don't want that to happen to him. So like
No,
seeing how it all developed obviously made me not like Sean that
yeah,
much.
yeah,
But Sean got his by the end of the movie. So
no, yeah. Being invested in the movie would like eh, if you feel invested in the movie, you're rooting for Eduardo a little bit, especially in that moment because he got screwed over so bad. And he's still like one of the smartest guys. And he's like really good with the business side and everything. But
like
and
even
yeah, it's not exactly fun to see him pushed out. But like that's what happened, and I think they did it really well. They showed it really well in the movie.
yeah, but even though maybe Mark wanted him out of the
Yeah, out of the fold
company or
more.
whatever, and like
Hmm.
you see his shares diluted, you can
Hmm.
see that small part of Mark still care about Eduardo as being like a friend, and I
Right,
would just
they were
consider his
best
best friend
friends.
because
Yeah.
he even says to Sean like you didn't have to go, like he repeatedly, even though Sean's like trying to like say how it had to go, he says I think like 3 or 4 times you didn't have to be that rough on him because he still cares about Eduardo. Like Eduardo's
Right.
still probably his closest friend
Yeah,
at the time,
I totally agree. Yeah.
which is very nice. It was very nice to see.
Yeah, like no, but he obviously cares about Eduardo, but he knows that, or not. He knows like he's gonna do whatever it takes to get to where he wants to be because, like we said, like he doesn't really care. He doesn't have too much regard for emotions and stuff like that. He doesn't let it get the best of him. Um, yeah, they did settle in the end, right? He did settle with the Winklevoss
Yeah, but it was for like
family.
65 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Company's worth like what is it, like
Billion,
73 billion,
20
I think.
23 billion in like 2010, I think. Like ridiculous amounts. But yeah. It's like he was I guess in the end not necessarily guilty, but like it was just he did settle. It wasn't like he won.
Well, I mean, they explain what would have happened if he
Right.
didn't,
Yeah.
which would have been tough. Like, do you remember that scene where they talk
What
about
team?
what would happen if he didn't sign the settlement deal?
No, I don't
But
remember.
they basically talk about like, so you know how there was the story planted about the chicken,
Right, yeah.
yeah, and then you know how Sean's party got raided.
Mm-hmm.
They say that if he didn't sign that settlement deal, then
Oh,
it would have went to a jury, and the jury could have been easily convinced that he planted the story about the chicken, and then he called the
right.
cops on
No,
that
I
party.
remember. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, that was crazy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that. I mean, so obviously he got off with
Oh yeah,
more than
yeah,
he got
he
off
got
with a good deal,
mhm,
a very,
yeah.
very, very, very small chunk.
But that's kind of how it works, right? Like these guys that make this much money, like obviously they're very talented and very good with their assets and everything, but like there is an element of luck in terms of being that successful. Like there's always a fact, there's always something you have to get you an edge. It's the way she goes. And now Mark Zuckerberg is a super billionaire, but a lot of people don't like him. Most people don't like him.
Yeah. I'll
It's
bring up the.
I've it's interesting because I've watched I watched some funny clips of him from like the Congress hearings about the privacy stuff of Facebook, and the way he like talks and acts is super similar. Even this is like from the last few years. It's so similar to how Jesse Eisenberg played it. Like he's still you see it. You see the connections. You see the kind of parallels that Jesse Eisenberg must have like really studied and done a great job of doing his research on how just his demeanor and stuff. All of Zuckerberg's little quirks, and he did a great job, like we talked about. What were you saying?
So I want to bring up the question: is there anything that you did not like about the movie?
Didn't like. Okay, let me think about it. The first time I watched it, not anything. No, not really. I really, actually no. I was gonna say I don't like the scene where they're like in England after the crew regatta, but I do. I really like that scene.
Wait, what scene?
Um,
What?
After the Winklevoss twins, there's a scene where the Winklevoss twins the Harvard crew team is rowing against some international crew team. I don't remember who it is. Maybe the Dutch. I think it's the Dutch. And they lose, but they obviously the Winklevoss twins they're looking at them for the Olympic team. I think it is.
Mhm.
And they're just like in England at this super fancy place with all these like their parents and all these like fancy crew people. And then I think Divya like calls them and tells them about Mark's thing that he copied about that. I don't know. It's just that was one scene. When watching the movie, I was like, oh, like I don't really care for this. But then I realized like that's actually like really cool because it shows the kind of people that the Winklevoss twins were. Like they're very preppy but they're also like not actually. They're still kind of kids, Like they think they're. Another scene with that. This is a scene that I love is when they go and try to talk to the dean, and the dean just like
Dismisses
dude, I
them
don't care.
completely.
Yeah, he clowns them. Like he's like, dude, I don't care. Like, and they're like you said, they're used to being given everything, right?
That was
And
one of
they're
my
like, so,
favorite scenes. I love
do
that
you
because
know
I
who
don't
my
like the
parents
Winklevi.
are?
I don't like
Right,
the
right.
Winklevi at all.
Well, no, yeah,
Like,
you're not supposed to like
yeah,
them.
but that made me so happy watching that
Yeah,
scene.
it's so funny. They're like, do you know who our dad is? And the guy's like, dude, I don't care. And yeah, they're just so like appalled that they're not getting what they thought they deserve so much. Yeah, I guess it is a little, it's like you're kind of happy about it.
Me personally,
What did you not like?
I I didn't hate anything. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously
no,
there's some very small different things that I don't really know about that they probably could have done to make it
right.
better.
Yeah,
But I
sure.
thought it was really well paced.
Me too.
I thought the whole movie was for a topic I didn't know really anything about, so I can't really add that much about
And
the
the topic is
accurate versus not.
not really that interesting either. But like we said, they found a way.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah,
when you think about like I mean, maybe I'd go see a movie about the start of like Google with Bill Gates or something like that, but I'm not gonna
don't
sit
get
down
too
and
much
read.
stuff, buddy.
Like if I gotta sit down and read about the start of Google, like I'm really
That's
not gonna do that. But like if a movie came like the fact that I wouldn't sit down and read this story on the internet, but they were able to bring it to the big picture and knock it out of the park. I mean, it was up for like
yeah, bring it
2
to it.
Academy Awards. I think it was up for Best Picture and
It,
like
it
up for
won. It
Best
won for
Actor,
an
something like that.
Oscar. One of them was for editing, I think, too, which
Yeah,
is another thing we
which
were
is
talking about.
like I said, it was just the acting was great. Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, they both did a great job.
Justin
I mean,
Timberlake. Forget about Justin
yeah,
Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake too. Yeah.
Don't forget about my boy. Rashida Jones. Shout out Rashida Jones is really
Yeah,
good.
she had a very small but nice
No,
role in the
she's
movie.
small, but it's interesting because like she does have she's the only one in the movie that's like so actually maybe not the only
She's
one,
very
but
neutral.
she's super neutral and she like is so intrigued by Mark, very unlike other people. Other people have already judged him, and she's still trying to figure him out, which makes her such an important character, even though she has such a small role, but she has a very important dynamic. Kind of, they don't even talk that much. But you see like two or three discussions between them in the movie or conversations. But she's one of the few people that's like so not necessarily invested, but just like really wants to figure Mark out when other people already think they have him figured out or have already judged him or already hate him or something like
Yeah,
that.
especially to I think you're right about her neutrality in this whole situation, because when you look at every perspective of this story, everyone has either, I mean, obviously they have the lawyers who, I mean, you have Mark's lawyers who are obviously taking his side and they're going to be about him and trying to protect him and trying to win their lawsuit. And you have Eduardo's lawyers who are going to try to win case for him. The Winklevoss twins, who lawyers, they hate Mark and their lawyers are not going to like Mark. But she's the only one who has really no connection to Mark at all.
He just wants to know.
And so she's able to, I wouldn't say show the real Mark, but in those very short, like alone scenes that he has with her, I feel like you, like, very minute, but you get a little bit more out of Mark than you did like in the rest of the movie.
Yeah, she gets through to him a little bit more than other people in the movie.
So it's like when you see, because throughout the movie you're seeing Mark deal with relationships with people that he knows, but with her he doesn't know her, so that it's almost the most real you can get with that character.
Right. There's a random stranger.
Because also, there's no bias.
Can we talk about one thing? I need to talk about one thing now, and I hope you agree with me. The girl that Eduardo starts dating is the most great acting by her. I've seen her in a lot of stuff. Like she's good. I forgot her that.
She's London Tipton, baby.
Yeah, London Tipton, exactly.
London Tipton.
I like her. She's really great. Her character, and obviously, like, you're supposed to hate her in the movie, is like, the girlfriend is awful. She's so annoying. I hated it. Like, I despised her, and I think that was obviously intentional because they make her like a terrible, obsessive, like crazy girlfriend. But it was, I don't know. I was furious at it.
Yeah, which adds
She's definitely on fire at one point.
Yeah,
the gift he got her.
Yeah, it really adds to the to Andrew's. I mean, not Andrew. Eduardo's character, because think about I mean, for a small part of it, I mean, I guess for like half the movie, Eduardo's winning, so he's part of this company and he's winning, but then you just start to see that turn. You see with the chicken and then the drop in shares and then them moving out to California and then the crazy girlfriend and not being able to get advertisers, quitting his internship. Like everything's just going downhill for him. Nothing good is coming. And just when you think things are getting good, like when he signs that deal, when he first comes out to California, or the second time comes out to California, when they get that $500,000 investment or whatever, it's like you finally see a very slimmer glimpse of hope.
Like you think it's coming back around.
Like you think he's gonna get a little turnaround, and then boom, just gets wrecked again. It's just like that. That's why I sympathize with him so much, because it's just like, can this guy get a win, bro? Like,
yeah, that's like a real dude too.
Yeah, like it just sucks.
From what I've been reading recently, the movie is not fully accurate in terms of exactly the events that take place. More of the ideas, and it's extremely accurate in portraying like Zuckerberg and how he was, which obviously we've hit a lot so far. But meaning that I saw one person say that you learned all you need to know about him from this movie. Even if the stories aren't necessarily perfectly lining up with what actually happened, you can't really know because, I mean, only the people actually involved probably, and a couple of witnesses to these events actually know how truly everything went down. But even if those aren't perfectly in line, you get what you need about who Mark Zuckerberg is and how he was when he started Facebook.
Yeah, which is what this movie's all about. I mean, obviously it's a story about the lawsuits and the start of Facebook, but it's also a story about who is Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. Because a lot of people see him especially when this movie came out, Facebook was probably I don't know, 2010, I don't know how big, but it was probably the thing, the thing. I mean, 10 years ago, I was 7. I don't think I had Instagram yet.
No, I didn't have Instagram yet.
Yeah, so Facebook was the thing for social media, the thing, the pinnacle. So, I mean, and a lot of people probably didn't know who, they just know his name because he started Facebook, but they don't know who he is. And I think that's what this movie wanted to tackle. Just, they wanted you to know who he is and how it all started, and I think they did that really well. That was their goal.
Now we know obviously a lot more about him, regardless of this movie. But yeah, back then it would have been very, very revealing, which is probably why it was so acclaimed too. Because anytime you show the hidden story of something, or just something that people don't necessarily know about, but would be curious about, you're going to be very popular. But yeah, okay, wanna get into some rankings, some final rankings?
Yeah.
Well, let's do it.
I went first last time, so you're hitting it this time, buddy.
I think we both agree. Fantastic movie overall.
Yes.
I'm gonna do two things really. For the casting and or acting of the aforementioned Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, and Justin Timberlake, and Rashida Jones, and everyone, Armie Hammer, all of them. For that being so well done and so well thought out, and in the case of Zuckerberg and Eduardo, I'm assuming he was probably did a really good job depicting him as well. How accurate and how cool it was that they were able to capture the essence of these people. And number two, because of the amazing, I guess you could say cinematography, but just the overall pace of the film. That's through editing and through dialogue. I love the dialogue, like we talked about in this film. Because of both of those things, I'm giving this movie a 9.0. Highest one so far, easily. 9.0 out of 10.
9.0 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's beating our other two movies by, I think, a fair amount.
Yeah.
I think JoJo was like an 8.7, right?
For me, it was an 8.4 or 5, I think.
I think I put it at an 8.7.
Yeah, you put it. Yeah. No, I think you had it lower than me. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
No, I think we both settled on like 8.7.
The important thing is this is the highest we've had so far. But you go ahead. You go ahead.
I'm going to blow you out of the park a little bit. I'm going to give this a 9.5. 9.
Okay, that's not blowing me out of the park at all. Honestly, that's not an. I could see that. You know,
it's quite possibly.
I love this movie.
It's quite possibly a 9.9, 10. But honestly,
yeah, totally.
For me personally, it is not my favorite movie of all time. So,
totally agree.
I cannot give it a. I mean, from a purely like movie standpoint, I would probably give it like a 9.8, 9.7. But for me, in terms of my rankings among like other movies and stuff like that, I'd probably give it around 9.5. Like you said, Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, Justin Timberlake, Rashida Jones, they knocked it out of the park. I think this is, if not his best, Jesse Eisenberg is probably best performing. And Andrew Garfield, I haven't watched like a lot of his stuff, but consider significantly better than the Amazing Spider-Man movies because those were trash.
Yes, but have you seen Hacksaw Ridge?
Oh yes, Hacksaw Ridge. Yeah, it's a great movie.
He's really good in that
really
too.
Good
he's a great actor.
He's a great actor. I will agree with that.
And we might be seeing him in the new Spider-Man, the Spider-Man 3. Do you see that? Have you been seeing that stuff?
No, I haven't really seen it. I'll have to read about it.
There's a lot of stuff coming out. They're opening it up to a multiverse. So Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are said to possibly be in it.
Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it.
Also, you're getting the Electro dude from the second Amazing Spider-Man, which is like
really
Jamie Foxx, and I love Jamie Foxx. Anyways, yeah, I think this movie was great. And just for reference for you, like you were talking about, like you have obviously movies that you would consider more your favorite than this. So like Moonrise Kingdom, which we talked about, Moonrise Kingdom is your favorite movie of all time, probably. So that's
10 out of 10. That's 10 out of 10. I don't even care if it got like a.
That's a 10. Okay.
50 or whatever on Rotten Tomatoes. That movie. I mean, we can get into. We can.
No, we're not getting into that because I don't like that movie.
I mean, we can do a podcast on our favorite movies, but.
Yeah. That was just for reference for me, like what you would consider a 10.
I mean.
I don't even know. I would have to think about that more to what I consider.
I mean, when you're looking at it from a purely like critical standpoint,
right,
it's probably not a 10, but
No,
I
no, but
will keep it at a
these
10.
are our personal rankings. These
Yeah,
aren't
yeah,
what we
yeah, yeah.
the movie should like. What critics would rank them.
Yeah.
No, I would honestly have to think about that. Like, what movies I give like a perfect 10, because this movie is like, I watched it for the first time like in quarantine, so like not like pretty fairly recently in terms of like when it came out and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it was like at when I finished it, I was hyped. I was like, wow, that was a fantastic movie,
Yep.
like one of the best movies I've seen this year. Damn, I said Jojo Rabbit might have been the best movie I saw this year, but I don't think I'm like I gave this a higher ranking. I don't know. There's a lot of good movies, I guess.
Yeah, but if
But
we were gonna talk about like our favorite movies, I think I'd have to like split it up because I think we'd
no,
have to do one
100%
from
comedy.
a sentiment because some of my favorite
Oh,
movies
okay, even just like that. Okay.
are like from when I was younger, when I like really started to get into
No,
movies. Like,
they have value to you. Yeah, sentimental value, 100%.
I mean,
Okay.
if we want to talk about like our top five from like the best movies we've ever seen, that would
Well,
be a completely different list. But my
that's a
personal favorite movies are like
that's
the ones that mean something to me and like hit me deep when I watch
right,
them
right,
because they bring out these crazy memories.
right. Like
Like
for me, like The Sandlot is like will always be one of my favorite
that
movies of
movie
all time.
scared me when I was younger. That movie scared
The
me.
dog scared
The
the shit out of me.
dog, dude. Oh my gosh.
But in the end, the dog is just like he's like not actually that scary, which I love.
But
But
do you
I
know
can
the
talk.
story of Bloody Mary?
Yeah, that scares me.
Yeah,
And it's
the
late, so
first
we're
time
not
I
going to
heard
talk
that,
about
I mean,
this.
okay, I mean,
Thomas,
this is staying in the
it's
podcast because I
late. We're
really
not
want to
going to
talk
talk
about
about
this.
this, right?
No, we're gonna talk about this because I want people to hear this. This is
Oh
so
god.
I think the first time I heard the story was like maybe second grade, maybe second, third grade,
Oh.
and I did not go to the bathroom at night for
Oh
a
yeah, yeah.
solid like
Me neither.
even if it was
That
like
doesn't
I woke up
even
at 3 a.m. like having to go like I just like nah I'll pee my bed bro like that's just it bro.
I literally remember where I was on vacation, like Cape Cod with my family, when like one of the first times I think I heard that, like the story or like the horror fable or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I remember just being so scared.
And like from
I
that
remember
point
that like
on,
very vividly. Anyways, why
and
why'd
like
you have to bring that up, Thomas? Now
no
I'm
no
thinking
no
about
because yeah I know it's late but
no,
no
no,
because we were just talking about like the Sandlot and how it scared me like
okay, well, when I
ever
brought up
since
the
Bloody
cinema,
Mary.
I didn't expect us to talk about scary things. Well, whatever.
No, but it was just like
Yeah, yeah. But
ever since then, just anything's like that's why I don't like horror movies, bro. I can't
yeah, no,
watch them alone.
no, honestly, like I like want to watch horror movies, but like I also don't like them. Like when I'm watching them, I don't like them. But
Now,
then
people who watch them alone are psychotic.
bro, that's weird.
I stand by that.
We're not even talking about that, bro. Yeah, we're not. It's too late
Have
for
you
this.
ever watched one alone?
No, yes, but during the day, and it's
Dude, I
still
remember
had me shook.
have you ever seen the movie
Oh god,
uh um
what, bro? What movie?
damn, oh I
What's it
forget what it's
about?
called, but
What's it about?
they're in like she's mute or she's deaf. I think she's deaf
Oh, Hush,
in Hush, bro.
bro. What the? Yeah, no,
Dude,
that
I
movie.
watched that at like 3 a.m.
Oh, I watched it. So I watched that, but I watched it with like five other people.
Nah, dude, I was
And
all
we were
alone.
like
I was
making fun
like,
of we were making fun of it the whole time.
well,
So
yeah,
like
when you're with people, you can laugh
I
it
like
off and
that one.
stuff.
That's one of the horror movies that I've actually like enjoyed.
Because here's the thing. I mean, we're going off on a complete tangent. So
Yeah, I
I'm just
don't
gonna
like.
say, if you're listening to this right now, you can log off right now because
Yeah, yeah.
we're just not gonna
If you
be
were only interested in the Social Network, now is the time to
to leave.
pack
But
it up.
the thing is, with horror movies,
Stay for one.
you can be like with when you're with people and you can literally look at them because the whole thing about horror movies is suspense and like that music and it draws you in
Yeah,
and you're like and it
those
waits for
dramatic.
those jump scares. But the thing
Yes.
is when you're with people, if you
Right.
just like think about the movie logistically, you're like, bro, like
It's just
this
so
is the
dumb.
stupidest thing ever. Like you can
100%.
literally laugh off everything that happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's yeah, no. Well, there's certain situations where yeah, but no. For the very most part, you can just laugh it off, and it's fine. Yeah, I don't know why we're talking horror movies, Thomas. Once again, I'm not. I'm not happy you did this.
I apologize, buddy. I apologize.
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, 9. Honestly, from what we talked about, I think I'm willing to go to like a 9.3, 9.4 area.
All
Because
right.
I really, this is one of the, like you said at the beginning, this is like one of the better dramatic movies I've seen.
I would.
It was so, yeah, it was just different. It was not something you see a lot.
Yeah, definitely not something you see every day. And I mean, I know they're in the back of my head somewhere, but from movies that are based on true stories, I mean, there's a lot of sports movies based on true stories. Like,
Mhm.
like,
42 is a person.
like, have you ever seen the movie Invincible with Mark
No.
Wahlberg?
Yeah, no, I know about it. I've never actually
Yeah,
watched
well, that's based on a true story, and I really like that movie. But if we're talking about movies that are like based on true stories, I could fairly confidently say this is probably the best one I've seen.
Really? True
Yeah,
story? Okay.
I mean, obviously, I mean, there's a.
bold hot take. I like it, Thomas. I like
I mean,
respect.
I don't want to say because I know there's a lot based on true stories. I mean, like obviously there's
Yeah,
like you
you might be
mentioned
missing.
Hacksaw Ridge. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'm not thinking about, but
But
there's a lot
no,
of
but
movies I'm
the
definitely not
fact
thinking about.
the fact that it comes to mind when you think about like what are the best, because you can't actually make a decision, right, in terms of like which
Yeah,
is the best
yeah,
one that you've ever seen. But like there's the fact that it comes to mind when you're thinking about it proves
definitely
how,
top
how
five. We'll leave
well
it at
it's
top five for sure.
top 5 for true stories. Yeah.
For true story movies, yeah.
Although like we said, like it's not 100% true.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
all.
like obviously there's a lot of
But
movies
yeah,
I'm
but
not
based
thinking
on
about.
events. Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, I want to hit this again, just kind of as the last point to go back to. This movie is literally about a lawsuit regarding like the ownership of an idea, and you have like I think there's like 4 maybe lawyers, like 2 like just people that are kind of like bystanding, and like a bunch of basically kids or young adults. They're like, just out of college or whatever. Maybe I don't even remember how old they were. All in that situation, but like they're just talking and arguing about ownership of an idea and like compensation for work in a company. But the movie's a masterpiece, and it's like so not boring at all. For and I for anyone,
Engaged
I
through
don't
the whole
know.
movie.
Right, yeah, you're locked in, and it's just so it's gripping, and it's about a lawsuit. Like I can't get over it. It's so great, and that's
It's
what I'll think of that.
I'll drive home this final point before we log off. It's like you said when you're giving the review. It's about the acting. It's about the characters. It's about you. The whole reason this movie is so great is because of the actors and the way that they keep you locked into the movie. Because with bad acting,
Invested.
just like you can't watch a movie, man.
Yeah, some of them are
Like
not terrible.
you might not have, but me and my brother watched. Okay, we're going off on another tangent. Yes,
That's
you love
fine.
to see
Who
it,
cares? Who cares?
but if have you ever seen the movie Scales?
No, sorry.
Okay, so it was like
Bad
2
acting.
a.m. 2 a.m. maybe. And me and my brother this is like
Oh.
you might not like this, but like me and my brother every month we sit down, we order Domino's on like a Friday night,
Why would
and
I
we watch
not
High
like
School
it?
Musical.
Thomas, that sounds great. I
Yeah,
want
when
to
we
let me
sit
be,
down, we watch High School Musical,
let me join you. Let me join
and
you. At least
we had just finished it. I think this was like over the summer. I think it was like July around then.
okay. This is Josh, right?
Yeah, Josh, and
You watch High School Musical?
we watched High School Musical. We finished it probably around like 1:30, and then we were kind of just like sitting there like talking for a while. And so like you know how like when you're on demand, like then it like kind of goes off. It kind of like leaves and goes back to live TV.
Oh yeah, okay.
There was this movie Scales on that. I mean, I looked up the budget, and the budget was $3 million, which is a fair amount of money. It's a fair amount of money.
Decent amount.
And I mean, it was a low. I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't a great. I mean, screenplay was
no,
trash.
not
Everything was
high.
trash.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
you.
but for a small production company, I mean,
Whatever.
that's
Okay.
fair.
What's the point?
But this was quite possibly the worst movie
That's awesome. That's so
I have
funny.
ever seen. I want you,
Great.
when you get the chance, I want you to sit down and watch just like 5 minutes of that movie.
We will see, Thomas. We will see.
It is the worst movie I
Okay.
have ever seen in my entire life.
I mean, I have something. The other day, I was. Have you seen The Babysitter? It's a Netflix movie.
Yeah, like Killer Babysitter, something like that.
Yeah.
No,
So they
I've heard
released
of
a
it.
sequel. Okay, well, I watched that like last year because it's just the trailer is really funny. And it's like
That's with
intriguing enough to
Bella
where you
Thorne,
can,
right?
huh?
That's with
Yeah,
Bella
well,
Thorne
Bella
and
Thorne
Robbie
is in
Amell.
it, but basically like it starts out as this like innocent little movie with this kid and his babysitter, and then it turns into like a fake horror, like a psycho film, and it's so funny. But it's like the dumbest thing ever, right? And the sequel recently came out. Netflix released it, and it's like the same characters and everything, and it's hilarious. But like
Was it
hilariously
bad?
bad. Like the acting was terrible, but it was like almost intentional. It probably was intentional. Like it's not meant to be a serious at all movie.
So is it
But
like a
just
guilty pleasure movie, or is it just like a
for me,
one-time watch?
100%. But it was I think it was a one-time guilty pleasure. You know what I mean? Like I watched it
Yeah.
just for the memes, and it was hilarious, but terrible, and I won't watch it again.
Yeah.
But I recommend it if you're ever like super bored.
Okay. Sounds good, buddy.
Great movie to watch. All right, wrap
All
it
right.
up.
So
Another
say your
great,
goodbyes, buddy.
yeah, another great discussion, Thomas.
It's our longest one. Sitting at,
Really? Yeah,
I
it
think
feels.
it's an
feels
hour
fun.
and 5 minutes because we started 6 minutes.
Okay, well, strap in, folks. This is a great one. I'm Samir.
Well, not strap in. They already
Once
strapped
again.
in, buddy.
No, I'm saying,
If
well,
they made it this far.
you can put this at the beginning. I'm Samil. This is Thomas. We're talking about The Social Network today.
No, I'll add my own in.
You add your own thing? All right.
Yeah, I'll add my own thing.
Make sure you put my name in there. I want my recognition, Thomas.
Of course, buddy. I always
We
start with,
we have to
hi,
start getting.
welcome back to Total Knockout Movies.
Yeah, no, I
Back
know.
with my
I know
co-host,
who you
Samil.
are. I like our little intro. We
I
need to
kind of want
start
to
getting
make
some.
like.
You know, make it.
some,
I can help you. I can help you edit something and make like a cool. We can make like a cool intro thing for.
All right, bad skis, buddy.
Whatever. But yeah, let's start getting some other buddies on here. You know,
Yeah, we gotta do that Dark Knight.
Yeah, with Nate. All right, yeah. Anyways, good speaking with you, my friend. Bye, buddy. Bye, buddy.
Goodbye, buddy. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Total Knockout Movies. If you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button and maybe hitting subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying doing these podcasts, and so is my co-host Samil. We're getting a little bit more comfortable with what we want to do and where we want to take this, so conversations have been running a little bit longer because we're just getting a little bit more comfortable. But anyways, I hope you have enjoyed, and everyone have a wonderful day.